there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
All right, we are back as promised. Richie Hicks Jr., Sports Podcast, Facebook Live, and YouTube. Tonight, we are going to talk about The Reckoning. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, the executive producer. Alexandria Stapleton, the director. This is about P. Diddy. Tonight, we're going in on the CEO slash owner slash basically birther of Bad Boy Records, which was a force to be reckoned with throughout the 90s and early 2000s. They invented the remix, but he also invented extortion. He not invented, but truly took it to a different level on the way the music industry works on the ugliest parts of it. And I would like to smack the crap out of Clive Davis for even putting him on. I am Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. This is my co-host, Mr. Idris Salam, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx. And unlike P. Diddy, he has talent.
Yes. I just need the money.
Yes. All right, Idris. So much to unpack here. Where to begin? Let's start at where he's from. Mount Vernon, New York, everyone. Not Harlem, New York is where P. Diddy is from. His daddy was from Harlem, New York. Killed, murdered in a drug-related situation. Diddy's dad was a hustler.
Mm-hmm.
His mother, I've always kind of felt some kind of way about, Idris.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure if she was in the game too on some level. I know that the narrative was that she was kind of involved in the nightlife of some level. And, you know, something I found interesting in the beginning of this documentary is that it showed how P. Diddy's mother constantly dressed him for success on a level of like, you're a big deal at the youngest of ages. And don't get it twisted. You know, I love to get my little man nice gear, things of that nature. But when you're parading someone on that level at that juncture, I do think that it's already putting a lot of pressure for a high expectation. What do you got, Idris? And then we're going to start moving into the journey of P. Diddy, whether it was from Uptown Records all the way to Bad Boy, all the way to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Billboard, the whole lick.
Yeah, Mount Vernon from where I live is, I don't know. Depends if you take the train, if you drive maybe 15 minutes, it's not that far. Take the 241st Street and just drive, it's not that far. And we used to go to Mount Vernon all the time. And like I said, I didn't know him. I used to hear his name, you know, back in the late 80s. As a kid, I heard about his father because, see, Nicky Barnes was pretty much in our area. And my cousin and, well, my mother and my cousin used to hang around him. So it's crazy, man. What made him, well, we're going to get into that, but it's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay, fuck society. Let's come together and hate on Diddy. I'll be real with you, bro. I've never cared for Diddy going back to my youngest of ages. This isn't about hating on Diddy. This is about standing up for a lot of people who got taken, whether it's artists that have passed on, like the Notorious Big, like Craig Mack,
Yeah.
whether it's the many women or men as well who he has assaulted both physically and sexually. This is why I'm doing this show. I'm not some groundbreaker that this is not something that the world knows about. We're giving our spin on it, and we're
Yeah.
gonna shoot the shit because in addition to being a sports podcast, we also love to go in on hip hop shows every opportunity we get.
Yeah.
And you know, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, long-standing vendetta with 50 and P. Diddy.
Mhm.
But the way that 50 uh, said this to anyone listening essentially was, yeah, we have a vendetta, but that's not about this. He said, this is hip hop history. And I think it is his way of extinguishing one of the worst parts of hip hop history because when you look at the way that Death Row and Bad Boy clashed, and we're going to lead up to how that all went down. But when you
Mhm.
look at the way that they clashed and how their two cash cows basically got exterminated, Christopher Wallace as well as Tupac Shakur, um, it changed the music industry in some ways for the better, but in some ways for the worst. And the worst in the case that while aesthetically and the way the media portrayed Suge as a monster, so to speak, given his blood Pyru ties, things of that nature, and his ear to the LA streets, you come to find out all these years later that he was more of the straight shooter than P. Diddy could ever be, as Suge went to jail due to the Orlando Anderson incident.
Mhm.
He kind of lost a grip on his empire, which was Death Row Records. And while this was all going down, within 6 months, the Notorious B.I.G., the Pride of Brooklyn, gunned down in front of the Peterson Automotive Museum, when they had the Vibe Party. Oddly enough, Kadada Jones, who was the fiance of Tupac, was there. That's a weird one. As
Yep.
was Keefe D, who is currently under investigation for the murder of Tupac. But this is
Mhm.
about Diddy. How did we get here, Idris? How did we get here?
Good question, man. And it said me, I don't have a reason. I mean, I was never a fan of Diddy. Give him the props what he did, but I was never a fan of him because I remember the CC City College stuff because I was living in New York at the time.
Yes,
I used to
sir.
go play basketball there, so I remember that.
Yes, sir.
And see, with that, there was no really. I mean, he apologized, but it's more like, yeah, whatever. A lot of people got hurt, people died in that, and that right there was when I was like, I don't like this dude, and that's when I started hearing more. When I went home, I started hearing more and more about him, like, who is this guy? Because he was going by Puff Daddy at the time.
Yeah, his ascension was really quick, dude.
Yeah, so
an A&R for Uptown Records underneath Andre Harrell.
Yeah, and see, we started hear about him. We was like, okay, Andre Harrell now. So, I don't know what, I see his situation like kind of like Tupac. Tupac came in, and being was in the game and all that. I guess he figured it is. I'm just saying how I feel. This may not be the way he felt. He got the money now. I want to get it. I want to be like that, but I don't want to be in that street game that he was in, where where people get shot. You know what I mean?
You wanted to pull the strings from up above. I think the thing that makes me nauseous that I found out during this. I mean, there's certain stuff that I already knew.
Yeah.
But when he essentially makes his cash cow artist, the late great Christopher Wallace, Notorious B.I.G., pay for his own funeral.
Right.
That's deplorable, for lack of a better word.
Right.
You have someone like Miss Wallace, who from day one was always skeptical about his true intentions for her son. And as you know, Jamaican families are very tight, and the mothers are put on a pedestal similar to Latino families, similar to Italian families.
Jamaican here. Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And when I think about her passing away less than a year ago and dying without getting justice for her son, that in itself is its own tragedy.
Yeah.
I personally believe over the course of time that Puffy was very envious. It started at Uptown Records when you looked at some of the big acts,
Yeah.
like a Heavy D, like an Al B. Shore, who was ahead of his time for such a young artist.
Yep.
And I personally believe that Diddy wanted all that for himself. And, you know, you go to 1994, the Quad Studio incident.
Mhm.
Tupac Shakur was supposed to be doing some work with Little Sean, who was a bad boy artist. You know, Tupac was hanging out with Haitian Jack, a well-known drug dealer, not a guy to fuck with, to put it bluntly.
No.
And you know, Pac made some enemies. Pac
Yeah.
made some enemies in New York, and you know, rumor has it, a lot of accounts have it that Big warned Pac not to hang out with some of those characters, whether it be Jimmy Henchman, whether it be Haitian Jack. Ultimately, Tupac was gunned down in the elevator of Quad, never got to perform with,
Yeah.
you know, to record with Little Sean. And the
Yeah.
very next day goes to jail for something that to this day I feel he was not guilty of.
Yeah.
I think it was all-out assault on hip-hop music, but he ended up going to Clinton Correctional Facility, did a pretty large bid,
Mm-hmm.
and Suge Knight comes to the rescue, gets him out of jail, and essentially the East Coast West Coast rivalry was on full display. I think it really peaked at the 95 Source Awards, where Suge with the red polo shirt comes out and basically dissed Diddy in front of his city. You know, talking about, you know, come to death row if you don't want your CEO all up in the videos taking your shine, essentially. And
Yeah. Yeah.
the energy was just flat out scary at that award show.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think that's kind of when, I mean, the game was getting a little grimy, but I think that's when hip hop or rap, I think that's when it took a real downturn, because see, it became that East Coast West Coast beef. You know, you had the thugs on the West Coast, you had the G's on the East Coast. So, and it was just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then, you know, Pac go down, then Biggie goes down. You know, you're like, dang. And then after that, it just spiraled. And with Diddy, man, and Suge, you know, these guys are two powerhouse, man. You know, we're trying to build. This is what y'all doing, but and both of them a couple, man. I mean, it's sad, man, because you lost you lost two giants.
And from
prime,
a behavioral standpoint, backing it up a little,
yeah,
you know, we'll go to the Peterson and then we'll back it up a little. Peterson Museum. Biggie was supposed to be in London, as documented by his name eludes me. He basically Diddy gave 75% of Bad Boy Records to his mother. The other 25 to it is slipping my mind right now what the gentleman's name was that ran Bad Boy all those years.
Oh,
was it Keith Burrows or something along those lines?
Something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, when you have a chance, if you can look it up on your end. But point to be made is Diddy did not want any of the company in his name because he didn't want to have to pay any of the victims or the victims' families from City College.
Yeah.
And this was like the first step of many shady doings during the course of this man's career. You know, it was documented that Craig Mack was doing very poor financially, even though he was very famous.
Yeah.
Craig Mack's widow, ex-wife / widow, however you want to, you know, term it, said that Craig talked to Diddy about, I need some money. Give me some cash flow. I'm going to perform. Thank you.
That's it, Kirk Burrows. Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay, so, you know, she says that Diddy pulls out this enormous wad of cash and only hands one of his best artists a $100 bill. To say that that's dehumanizing on a man level, different kind of shit right there. It's just the beginning, you know. So obviously, this is on the Peterson is after Tupac is murdered, and you know, Keefe D, who was going on a world tour, giving up his involvement in the situation in Las Vegas, that he was in the car with baby Lane Anderson, who was his nephew. He and
Mhm.
Puffy are the only two remaining people that really are at that scene, so to
Right.
speak. You know, another weird thing that Mr. Burroughs shared on this documentary is that
Mhm.
Puffy was indeed in Vegas, but one under having multiple drivers coming out of Harlem. He had a team of guys. Keefe D and his set were there, and what led to that altercation was the death row chains. According to many accounts, Diddy put out a bounty on death row chains about a month prior to the situation that went down
Mhm.
in Vegas. A death row chain was taken,
Yep.
and Orlando Anderson apparently was the party at guilt there that was involved, and that led to ultimately Tupac getting shot about 2 hours later. He was basically dead man walking when anyone who wanted to hurt him already knew that he was going to go to Club 662.
Yeah.
He basically even said it in his final song, which was recorded a day before his death, which was the Mike Tyson hype song.
Yeah. I didn't see the documentary. I mean, like I said, I heard about it. And I can only go by what I remember back then in 96, 97. I remember the fight and everything, man. I remember Tupac stomping my boy out. And, I knew, I was like, things are not going to end right.
No.
And I heard he got shot. Me and my homie was just sitting there, doing some music. I was like, oh, shit. But, he was living. We was like, oh, okay. Then he died the next week. And I remember
And this
Biggie
is the
coming on.
second time that
Yeah.
he was shot in a matter of 3 years.
Yeah.
And, Suge also got apparently a bullet fragment in his cranium. He was able to walk away from it unscathed for the most part.
Yeah.
But the events that happened afterwards have just been so murky for so many years. You enter Greg Kading taking over an investigation from the late Russell Poole. They did a movie on this with Forrest Whitaker and Johnny Depp, City of Lies. And, a big part of what 50's doing here is that he wanted to bring truth to the demise of both Biggie and Tupac. So, you're at the Peterson. Biggie wanted no part of California.
Nope.
He wanted to go to London. He didn't even really kick it with Diddy when he was there. Many accounts, whether it's Gene Deal on Art of Dialogue,
Yeah.
or the many accounts of Bad Boy Artist.
Yeah.
Biggie loses his life. Puff Daddy bumps him off the cover of Rolling Stone posthumously, takes basically all. Idris, you hear me, bud?
I hear you now. I'm having like some weather here. I'm gonna switch to my phone. So I'm gonna silent just for a second and clock right back in.
All right, no worries.
All right. Then.
All right, back to what I'm getting at here. I believe that what happened was when Puffy basically had the publishing for the Notorious B.I.G., he knew that Biggie wanted off the Bad Boy label. He knew that Biggie wanted to do more, put more artists on, whether it be from Junior Mafia or other rappers that probably no one ever heard of yet. And ultimately, Puff Daddy was able to keep a lot of money that was owed to the Wallace family over time. He did break them bread eventually, but his star got huge on the back of Christopher Wallace. No question about it. Everything that was destined to come Christopher Wallace's way was for Puffy. And I do believe that, there's a lot of ways to break down all of this. But I believe that this was, ultimately peaked at just a hunger for power, constant power amongst anything else. This man wanted all the power. And with money comes power. Backing it up a little bit to his origins. And this is a history of violence.
Right.
This man has been physical with so many different women that he has dated over the years, whether it's Cassie Ventura, whether it's Kim Porter, Kim Porter used to be with Al B. Shore.
Yep.
You
I'll be
know,
sure almost died.
yes, sir. Al B. Shore almost died. There's a long list of people that, it's like a three-way thing. You either end up broke, in
Mm-hmm.
jail, or dead. That is
Or
the
dead.
Diddy effect.
Yeah.
Shine, jail. Kim Porter, dead. Tupac Shakur, Biggie Smalls, dead. And
I'll be sure.
yeah, I'm happy Al B. Shore's still kicking, and he's doing more than
It,
kicking. He's doing a lot of talking now too.
yeah. Christopher Williams, another one. You know, Heavy D's dead. Everyone's dead, man. Basically.
Yeah, and he ultimately goes to jail for soliciting prostitution and paying, male gigolos, etc., to come
Mm-hmm.
in. Cassie Ventura coming into the game. You're talking about an 18, 19-year-old girl, very young woman who
Mm-hmm.
was manipulated. You look at the Making the Band situation. All those
Yeah.
artists, there's a lawsuit there. I think the lawsuits have gotten up into the mid to high 70s range in terms of how many
Yeah.
people have brought to light some of the stuff that has gone down. And it's like, my takeaways from this is that I think at the youngest of ages,
Mm-hmm.
because his neighbor who was narrating the beginning of this spoke about how Puff Daddy as a youngster got some beatings that were like next level that just were not right at the hands of his mother. And I
Mm-hmm.
wonder to a level if that started his hatred of women. Because when you see the way he has treated women, seeing them as objects but not as equals, it
Mm-hmm.
does beg to question if that was a legitimate thing here.
Yeah, and to let people know we're not making any excuses for him.
Hell no.
But that could be a contributing factor.
Yeah, because this is like,
Because
how did we get here is what I'm getting at.
see what I heard about his moms, and I don't like I said, I didn't really hear much when I grew up I heard his mom was like a prostitute or
I
dope
kind of put
head.
that together on my own
Yeah,
intuition, although it wasn't flat out said.
yeah. That's what I had gathered, even coming up. She was either a prostitute and he was hustling and he was pimping her or something along those lines. But I know she wasn't. She wasn't. I'll be nice, so come on. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And,
Yeah.
when I think about the groundbreaking performance of I'll Be Missing You, of course, Sting is on stage. He actually pays Sting
Yeah.
a substantial amount of money every time that song's played. Biggie's widow,
Yeah.
Faith Evans, on stage. And this is
Yeah.
another interesting one. Faith Evans has always been a person
Mm-hmm.
who, while everyone was running from Diddy, stayed near him. Of course, the accusations, well, more than accusations, flat out claim from Tupac Shakur that he was involved with Faith Evans while she was married to
Yeah.
his friend turned rival, the Notorious Big. All of that ranging back to Quad Studios.
Yeah.
What I hope that this documentary helps bring to light and maybe give some legs to, Keefe
Mm-hmm.
D currently is in jail. He's going to be in this trial for the,
Yeah.
the murder of Tupac Shakur. He has said more than a couple of times on different platforms, as well as in his book, Compton Street Legend, that
Mm-hmm.
Sean Combs offered him and the Southside Crips $1 million for the heads of both Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
Von Zip Miller comes into the equation. Rumors
Yep.
are that he is a family member of Puff. He's no longer alive.
Yep.
The Crips were never paid. Keefe was never paid. That money was used by Von
Yep.
Zip Miller to open a club.
Yep.
The gun that killed Tupac belonged to Von Zip Miller,
Was it Miller?
as
Yep.
he gave the guns
Mm-hmm.
to Keefe and Co. All accounts and most people's deductive reasoning come to the conclusion that Orlando Anderson was the gunman in Tupac Shakur's murder. Amir Muhammad has been the guy constantly named as the killer in the Biggie situation. But the thing that I just cannot get away from, Idris,
Mm-hmm.
it went from probably to not a doubt in my mind that Sean Puffy Combs exterminated the two biggest rappers of the 90s.
I'll be honest with you, man. And I don't think people ever gonna hate. Look, I'm not hating on the guy. But if people would open their eyes and just look, I think he had something to do with it. I really do, because he remember Biggie was talking about going into more R&B, and and they're saying like with Tupac, he was like ready to branch off with his own thing.
Yeah, Death Row
And
East was something where Tupac, because a lot of people forget,
mhm,
Tupac loved New York. He just had an
yeah,
issue with Bad Boy Records CEO, the
yep,
cash cow Biggie, things of that nature.
he's from Brooklyn originally. He born in Brooklyn, born in Brooklyn.
He wanted to put on a lot of East Coast rappers under the East Coast faction of Death Row, and I got news for you.
Mhm,
If he
mhm.
doesn't get killed in Vegas, I truly believe that a lot of things historically based would have been different in New York. It makes you wonder about the ascension of guys like Jay-Z and guys like Puff.
I agree. I agree. That's why I feel I've always felt that he had something to do with, at least with Biggie getting killed. But through the years, I'm like, he had something. He had his hand in on both of those. I'm pretty sure, because for no one to touch him at all, but you got your artist dead and his rival dead. It's too.
There's too many
Yeah,
things that stand out. They weren't in the
yeah.
same vehicle.
Nope.
Biggie was in a car where they made it so easy, and he was a sitting duck because remember he was coming off a broken leg.
Yep.
Um, he was a sitting duck essentially. He was morbidly obese at that time of his life because Biggie went from just being a big dude to being a fat dude.
To a bit.
Because when you
Yeah.
get a lower extremity injury and you can't
Hmm.
really move around like that, you tend to put on a
Yeah.
great deal of weight.
Yeah.
Sadly, out of the all the shots that hit big, it was
Hmm.
the final shot that was fatal. The other ones he would have walked away from.
Hmm.
But I look at the ascension of Puff Daddy, the griminess of the funeral that Biggie paid for, essentially,
Yeah.
running interference after interference alongside some of the dirties in the LAPD that have prevented this investigation from moving forward.
Yeah.
And like I said, a lot of people, media wise, are actually some of the enablers here. When you paint Suge with a brush that he is bad for everything, he's a
Hmm.
thug, he'll open your melon, he's intimidating, da da da. But you get a
Hmm.
guy like Puff Daddy who played the part of a snake so well for so long.
Yeah.
And it's truly remarkable. It's truly remarkable how for so many years, this guy has had legendary parties. Then you go into a
Yeah.
realm of uncomfortableness with the freak offs. You
Yeah.
have men and women claiming all kinds of stuff, which leads you to believe, was this guy, you know, dating starlets to kind of cover the fact that he's always been a gay man? A
I've
lot of
always felt
layers to
that.
this. A lot of layers to this.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, that gay thing, I felt that like 20, 30 years ago. I felt that back, yeah, when he first came around.
I myself did too. And over the course of time, I think something that is most remarkable is that when
Mhm.
you look at an industry that is reliant on flat out God given talent, this is a man that had next to none. I will always
Ah,
give this man credit for being a person who was always able to hyper motivate his artists, get good results. He was a hustler through and through. Those are things I
mhm.
admired about him.
Yeah.
But when I look at just all the shortcuts and all the people he heard on the way up, it just
Yep.
basically makes you want to erase a certain era of hip hop music because his hands were pulling all the strings. Even with Hot 97, when you look at the Angie Martinez interview with
Hmm.
Tupac, people are like, oh, Angie needs to give that up. That don't got a damn thing to do with Angie.
Got nothing to do with Angie.
That is owned by Hot 97. And who pulled the strings for Hot 97 during that era? Jay-Z and Sean Combs.
Jay Z and Sean Combs. And and that's the thing. That's why when people say about us hating on him, I'm like, look, people use the word hate too much for the wrong reasons. When
Yes,
you
indeed.
when you speak to if you just because you disagree with something doesn't mean you're hating, because you might know something that they don't know. And with Diddy, anything I say about Diddy, I'm saying for the fact that I know people, I remember him, I grew up not too far from this dude, da 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 da. It's all there. I don't have to hate on him. I'm not going to gain anything by hating on Diddy. I'm not going to gain anything. I'm not going
No, and it's like anything else.
to
I
gain
could
nothing.
understand a defense mechanism among certain fans that would
Yeah.
say, "Damn, man, they're trying to take down another successful black man," because you look at what happened with Bill Cosby. The Cosby Show was
Mm-hmm.
groundbreaking on so many levels. O.J.
But it's a lot of
Simpson, one of the
accountability,
greatest
man.
players to ever play the game. But one thing, and I hate to say it, but I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
One thing that all three of these men had in common is that they never wanted any part of truly of the black community or urban black America until they needed them.
Amen. And what my people, and I want them to see this. I'm saying, we don't like accountability. Like, me, Richie, I'm blacker than black. But I'm always saying, look, we got to be held accountable. And see, for some reason, we don't like the whole people, our people who got money accountable. But we're quick to hold the homie up the street that we don't like accountable. Or the chick down the block who hoeing around. We want to hold, but these guys like Diddy and Jay-Z, we don't like to hold them accountable. I'm going to tell you, and I don't care if someone say I'm hating, Diddy's grimy. Period. We seen video, we heard audio, we seen how he is to people in the wide open. Da 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 da. He's grimy. I don't care
I think
anybody
that
says it.
yeah, and I think the grand reveal in this was
Mhm.
that you have cold hard evidence of the way he's talking to his lawyer. And it's
Yeah.
never about holy shit I fucked up, or it's never
No.
about my God, what the hell did I do? It was always about how am I gonna get out of this one? And the
Right
one
on. Right
thing that
on.
Sean Combs has finally run into, similar to R. Kelly, similar to others, even a guy like Epstein who was loaded, is
Yeah.
that when you get to a certain level of grimy criminality, your money don't matter anymore.
It don't matter anymore.
And
It
I'll
don't
be
matter
real with
anymore.
you. I'll be real with you. One thing that he stands out with even worse than anything that somebody might claim is wrong with the
Mhm.
late O.J. Simpson
Mhm.
or wrong with R. Kelly or whoever for that matter.
Mhm.
I've never seen someone step on the back of his own people as ferociously as Sean Combs.
That's
Because
why
when
I
I
don't
think about Sean
understand.
Combs, it
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't like well some I mean you have a couple of exceptions like the girl from
Yeah.
the Aubrey O'Day chick, but
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
predominantly talented black men and women who have been bent over backwards by this dude.
Richie,
And I
that's
think
why.
that is one of the biggest atrocities of all.
That's why I got an issue because I'm like, this guy has had a history of it, and he does it on TV, and I'm like, oh, people like, oh, y'all gotta stop. No, we gotta hold our people accountable. We gotta cut this selective outrage.
But I mean,
What?
he basically played the role of Biggie was my bestie and da 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 da. Da. He
Yeah.
basically ran that song. That song
Hmm.
opened up the lane for him to essentially be a megastar. You're talking the key to New
Yeah.
York City, like the whole lick. And it's
Biggie pushed it. Yeah.
yeah,
Biggie. Yeah.
Biggie is,
Biggie.
on the backs of Biggie. And, I feel that he was very envious of, I get back to Albie Shore. Ultimately, he ends up with Albie
Hmm.
Shore's woman.
Hmm.
Eric Sermon did a appearance on this, which was very interesting as well.
Hmm.
He said that a woman who he was great friends with, but never, but, basically platonic,
Hmm.
Puff took issue with that and actually tried to fight Eric Sermon, which
Hmm.
would have been a mistake because Eric Sermon would have personally bodied him, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
But
He'd have snapped him in half. Yeah. Eric Simmons
absolutely.
a big dude.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
Big
is.
dude.
Yeah, those dudes, I remember vividly as a youngster, him,
Hmm.
Keith Murray, some of the
Yeah.
guys from both EPMD and from the Def Squad,
Yeah.
because, they were on one and the same, at least in Sermon's case. These guys
Yeah.
used to always hang out at the Brentwood Rec. So I used to
Right.
see
Because
these
yeah.
guys as a young kid, always
Yeah. Because
hanging
see,
around
they're
Long
from.
Island.
Yeah. Because yeah. Because
Yeah,
see,
Keith Murray was a member of LOD actually back in the day.
yeah, because Keith K Solo was from the Long Island era, but he hung with them. That's
Yes,
probably why
sir.
you always
De
see
La
them. In,
Soul
yeah,
used to kick it with those
they,
guys too, and
yeah,
they were more
yeah,
than cool with, in my opinion, the god MC of all MCs, which would be Rakim.
yeah,
He's from Wyandanch.
yep.
Yeah, Long
Dude, I
Island
remember,
definitely has turned out a lot of great rappers over the years. A lot
Yeah,
of great talent, but
yeah.
50 months. A lot of people feel that what made it so hard for everything to stick was, well, first of all, I'm going to keep it a buck. I watched it. I feel that
Mhm.
the jurors were starstruck with Puffy. I really believe that.
They probably were.
And, it's kind of wacky that so many years removed from some atrocities that have happened in court, that you still managed to fumble this at the level that they did. 50 months, when you consider everything, is pretty crazy. They were not able to totally get it to stick on the sex trafficking stuff.
Yes,
But
that's
even
not
with,
even 5 years.
but you know what I find interesting amongst all this, Idris, and I'm
Hmm.
far from a police officer or somebody who knows every inch and nook and cranny of the law. But one
Hmm.
thing that stands out to me that's wacky, you have
Hmm.
video of this dude beating the ever living shit out of his
Yeah,
woman. And
yeah,
at minimum, why not charge him with the simplest of charges, which would be domestic violence?
yeah.
Because that's going to stick to some years as well.
And see, that's why, because I know guys out here who got more time than Diddy got for less shit, and
Absolutely.
I'm
And
like,
money talks and bullshit walks, Idris. We already know this.
yeah,
But, you know, shouts out to 50 Cent. Some people think
yeah,
that he is just a miserable troll. And on some levels, he is a
hmm,
troll. But one thing I will say about 50, and I give him respect for, well,
hmm.
number one, he's a fellow Queens resident, so I love him on that level. I remember I was pretty hype when he first came on the scene with How to Rob an Industry Nigga. I was fired up,
That was
Idris.
this when that came out. Even I was.
I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I was like, that's how who is this guy? What you say?
No, but the thing with 50 is a lot of people thought it was deplorable when he poked fun at the death of Irv Gotti, but there's more to
Yeah,
it
yeah.
because the Supreme team, Kenneth Supreme McGriff, the
McGriff.
shooting
Yep,
that almost took the life of 50 Cent. There's a
yep.
lot of variables as to why the venom was so real and even continuing to spill into his forever hatred for Ja Rule. He and Fat Joe made peace. Joe
Yeah,
tried to be a mediator. It just ain't going to happen in any lifetime.
ain't gonna happen.
But one thing I will give 50 props on, he's a man of principle. He doesn't
Exactly.
he doesn't turn on what he believes in. And in this
Mm-mm.
particular case, just like so many of us,
Hmm.
Biggie, whether he was your best rapper in top 5, top 25, he had a huge impact. As did
Huge
Tupac.
impact.
As
Both
did
of them.
Tupac. And
You know
when
something?
both these guys are robbed from us, yeah, you're damn right we want to know why.
You know what? I'm a bit like when 50 is making music. I liked some of his stuff, but I wasn't a big musical fan of him. But I liked him. I loved How to Rob. That was my joint. But I like him. And as time went on, when he started trolling, I was like, I like 50, and I love me some 50. The one thing I got to give 50, like I said, he's a man of principle. And with all these rappers doing all this stuff, he knows 50 does not get in trouble. He does not get in trouble. You don't see him getting arrested. He ain't done this. He doesn't get in trouble, man.
Oh, you got to
You
hear
know?
this too, Idris.
Hmm.
The Love album that Diddy did. The
Yeah.
producer on that, Little Rod,
Hmm.
uh, claims that he was drugged and probably, definitely sexually assaulted. Now, this is a weird one.
Really?
Now this is a weird one. On some
Yeah.
level, I understand anyone can be a victim in any situation.
Yeah.
But at some level, why would you, as a grown man? I mean, every story's different, and I'm not trying to show
No, no, I'm with you.
insensitivity to a legitimate victim. But the
No,
wild
I'm
thing
with you.
about this, the wild thing about this is
Hmm.
there are voicemails of Diddy talking shit to him on the phone, saying that he doesn't like the angle he's coming at. Basically, Little Rod wasn't paid for his
Yeah.
contributions. He did the whole album, the Love album. He did the
The
whole damn
album.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not paid one red cent. They tried to offer him some bullshit like 29K, which is a joke.
That's a joke. That's an advance. That's not even that's an advance. And see that's why with all of this out there, true, okay, you're not guilty. Well, he was found guilty. But still, with all of this stuff on the table, Like I like R. Kelly. I still listen to R. Kelly music, but I know he did what he did. How do you know? I saw the video my damn self. 1970. I mean 1999. I saw the video, so I know he did what he did. And with Diddy, with all the stuff on the table, everything. Why do people think you're hating on him? The evidence is right there in your
it's
face.
like a tone deaf ignorance
Right.
that
The evidence is right there.
certain things that get ignored. And I think the thing that just makes me want to slap my own face is why
Yeah.
would you get so worked up over someone who's never done anything for you?
That's why I don't understand.
That's the part that really makes me scratch my head.
That's why I don't understand. Like what like what satisfaction am I going to get out of saying, okay, Diddy did it, or he
I
didn't do it, or
personally
what?
think it just goes back to us as a society, how we have a forever infatuation with a couple of things:
Yeah.
violence, violence, guns, and we stay getting starstruck by people who eat, sleep, and shit the same way we do.
And don't even think about us.
No, there's levels to it. There's levels to it. You have people that are powerful like that are genuinely good people.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good people in this world. I mean, shit, you
Yeah.
ran into Keanu Reeves, and he lined up with everything
Yeah.
that everyone said about him.
Oh man, and more.
I mean, you've met Rakim. You've met
Yeah.
Rakim. You could speak
Yeah.
on that. Yeah, he ain't just a great rapper. He's a great man.
Yeah.
You know,
True blue.
True blue, no doubt. But, when I think about how ridiculous that some people, just wanted the outcome to go in his favor or trying to downplay, paint Cassie as though she's just a whore, or paint X, Y, and Z as just haters because they weren't as talented. What he did to Shine was deplorable. Club New York.
You know something, Richie? It don't matter if Cassie's a hoe or this or that. Still, you did what you did. You had the money to fund it. You were the ringleader. That's the bottom. And see, that's what they don't get. He was the ringleader.
And
It's just
similar
like
to
the
the
mob.
Epstein list,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
like, yeah,
one of those
that's,
things
yeah.
that the most powerful, some of them want to put their thumb on it. I applaud 50 Cent for
Hmm.
bringing this shit to the light, because this was a long day coming. A long day coming. You
Yes.
look at guys like Mopreem Shakur, who is family of Tupac.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he wants to know the truth.
And they got a right to
Miss
know it.
Wallace, if she was still alive, she wants the truth.
And she said that go into her grave. She didn't get a chance to see
She fought to
justice.
the bitter end on behalf
Hmm.
of her son. And I say to myself, Idris, how different
Hmm.
would the hip hop landscape be if these two guys were not taken away at such young ages of 24 and 25, respectively?
Even R&B, because with Biggie with the R&B and Tupac with the R&B, it'd
I
be different than
personally think, like,
Mhm.
you look at that Keisha Cole joint that he did with her. You would
Yeah,
have seen a little more of that side of Pac. I
yeah.
think R&B wouldn't have had the swift depth that it had.
Nope.
Because when you have huge rappers that are co-signing R&B the same way that, like, say, the NBA co-signs the WNBA, it will keep it powered and relevant until you get special artists that take it to that next level yet again.
Yeah, I agree. If those two would have stayed, and if they'd have stayed, yeah, it would have been R&B would have been great. Hip hop would have been like, yeah, because I said I wasn't a big Tupac fan. I was more Biggie, but I'm not going to take nothing away from Tupac. Because Tupac, for the time he was here, he put his stamp.
We are in
You
year
know,
51 of hip-hop.
right?
51 going on 52 years of hip-hop. You cannot tell the story without those two men.
That's the '90s.
Absolutely. The two biggest
That's the
artists of the
'90s.
90s,
That's the '90s. They
And
opened
I
the
say, how
'90s, man.
different would it be? I personally feel like Tupac would have got involved on a level of activism.
Me
Who
too.
knows, bro? With his
Me
intellect and
too.
his intelligence,
Me
who
too.
knows? He
I
might
think
have been the
so.
mayor. He might have been a mayor of a city.
Me too. I think that's where he was going. That's why I wish he could have stuck around. And I think Biggie would have been more the hip hop R&B guy, the big guy, singing,
I
rapping,
think
da da da.
Biggie would have
Yeah,
eventually done what Puff did, but in a more righteous way,
yeah,
putting
yeah.
people on and putting money back into the
Hmm.
hands of his people. I think that Biggie cared
Yeah.
a lot about that, even though he doesn't necessarily get that much credit for it. Because you got to think, Idris, 25 and
Hmm.
24 years old, respectively, there was so
Yeah.
much that these guys didn't even have a chance to correct. Because when you
Dude,
were that age, you know as well as I do that a lot of mistakes are made.
they were on the way up, dude. They were up there already, but they were on the way up. They were like going up. They were going up, dude, and they were
I mean,
already.
you look at the case of
Damn.
Biggie. You look at the case
Yeah.
of Biggie. Like King of New York was a serious title at that time.
Yes.
You had guys like Nas
Yep.
vying for it, Raekwon
Hmm.
vying for it.
Hmm.
And it's just such a loss on so many levels. And all I could say is that I hope that at minimum this documentary brings some
Hmm.
light, because the best way to tag charges on somebody is when they're already in the can.
That's it.
And
That's it. Because you can hold them. Yep.
yeah, I'm gonna keep it real, dude. I'm 15 years old. I cried
Hmm.
when Tupac died.
Dude, I was
Tupac
in shock.
resonated. Tupac resonated with me on a lot of levels. And personally, the beautiful thing about music is that
Hmm.
music could get you through a lot of hard times.
Yeah.
And I must admit that, like people that are older than me, like say my mother, my father, my stepdad, a
Hmm.
grand loss for them was somebody like a John Lennon, or somebody like a Janis
Yeah.
Joplin, or somebody like a Marvin Gaye,
Yeah.
just to name a few legends,
Yeah.
or a Jimi Hendrix. That was my first one that really hit me in my soul. I think I was already desensitized when I heard that Big died. And, me being the ignorant 15-year-old I was at the time, going on 16,
Hmm.
when Big passed away, I don't think it hit me as much as it would hit me as a grown man now, or as somebody who has grown, because of
Yeah.
the sheer fact that I was a Tupac fan, even though I am a New Yorker, and even though I love a lot of New York artists. And don't get it twisted, I was a Biggie fan as well. But I do
Hmm.
believe that my belief at such a young age that
Hmm.
Sean Combs was responsible for the first shooting, at definitely the second shooting, and seeing the
Hmm.
way that hip hop forever gets swayed. And the sad part about people like Big and Pac dying, we talked about it with our guy. Shouts out Zay Fetty. He was here on the
Yeah.
show for the hip hop show.
Hmm.
How they dumb this shit down.
It is.
They dumb this
It
shit
is.
down.
It's dumb. It is, and it's a sin. That's why these two guys. And the great thing about hip hop is a lot of the
What's going
OGs
on,
are
Jay
coming
Bear?
back.
What's going on, Jay
What's
Bear?
up, J Bear? Um, a lot of the OGs are coming back and making music. I seen
Thank
Laura
God.
Lisa Lucy can't
I mean,
have
dog,
got a
you
joint.
see, you see Nas
Dang,
literally victory lapping. Big victory for Kendrick Lamar, putting another fake out to
yeah,
pasture, and Drake
Drake. Yeah, that
put
was
his ass out to
sensational.
pasture.
That was sensational. That was insane. Yeah. So it's good that the OGs are coming back, making
100%
music, and
J
they're
Bear.
making good music.
100% J Bear. J Bear on the
Yeah.
comments. Congrats to 50 Cent for bringing it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. And it's not that I want to see a successful person go down. I'm not a hater. That's not my nature. But when
It's
I
about
think about all the
accountability.
great people this guy hurt, not just the
Mhm.
women, the men, I'm talking about like two literal icons. And more than those two, I'll be sure in his own right is an icon. There ain't no Biggie
Yep.
Smalls without a Heavy D, just like there ain't a
And
Jay Z without a Big Daddy Kane.
it's and see that's why I'm trying to get through to the people. Like, dude, if 50 don't put this out here so people know what went on, this man would have destroyed a bunch of lives. Like, hey, nobody really knew what happened. That's why I applaud 50 because 50 knows he doesn't have any dirt on him. So he's like, I don't have no dirt on me, so I can do this,
And
and I
let's be
applaud him.
real, Idris. Let's be
Mhm.
real. When you get
Mhm.
to when you get to a certain level of power where you could dodge all
Yeah,
the darts, like a Sean
yeah.
Combs,
Hmm.
this is past street level shit.
Yeah.
Like if somebody hurts one of yours, we're old school. We're gonna go that route possibly, no matter how
Right.
reformed we are in this stage of our life. But the
Exactly.
reality is, if somebody like that touches one of ours, it ain't exactly a straight path to get to them.
No,
And that's why there is a purpose for the law. That's why there is a purpose for some of this high level shit that has gone down in this huge investigation.
you have to. I'm glad he did it because people need to know the truth. We need to hold our people accountable, and 50's doing it because
No
I
doubt.
believe, like you said about Biggie and all, if Puffy or Diddy, whatever you want to call them, take control of things, I think we would be listening to some great music right now with a whole bunch of artists that just tear it up because Pac would have had that Death Row East, Biggie would have had his thing like Bad Boy,
And they would have
and
reconciled because I
they would have
already think
reconciled.
that each of them, in their own way, regretted how far it got because people were
Yeah,
getting hurt.
yeah, yeah.
And one thing about
And
Tupac, especially
mhm,
Tupac, he wanted the best for the black community. And whether
exactly.
he did some missteps and led a couple of different messages, once again, I'm
Hmm.
going to reiterate, he was only 25 years old.
2025. He had a lot of growing to do.
No
A
question,
lot of
Idris.
growing to do.
No
Yeah,
question. 100%. J Bear, I'm digging a lot of the feedback. I agree with you on all counts there. Heavy D was a special dude, man.
yeah,
I'll be sure when you think about Night and Day and how young he was when he put that joint out,
yeah, yeah,
unbelievable talent, and I think about
yeah.
Mace tried to tell us when you get driven to go find the Lord, not saying that there's anything wrong with it.
Right. But when someone pushes you, when an individual actually pushes you to keep you from, and see that's what Craig Mack did before.
Yes,
Because Craig
indeed. And there
Mack,
was nothing fake about either one of them going that route and finding Christ.
nah, nah. Because see, when I saw that Flavor in Your Ear remix with Biggie and Craig Mack together, I was like, oh hell yeah! And the next thing you know, Craig Mack's off the label,
Yes,
and I'm
indeed.
like,
They basically used him because he had his prints on that. That was the
mm-hmm.
tight joint because they had Busta Rhymes on there. They had Boy
LL
Scout
Cool
on there.
J, yeah, right, yeah. That thing was dope.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And big rest in peace to all the soldiers in the hip hop game that
Mhm.
unfortunately succumbed to a lot of the selfishness, the dictatorship, if you would, of Sean
Yeah,
Combs. Because when I look at just complete advantage that was taken of so many phenomenal artists, even the Locks were able to get away,
yeah.
thankfully. But I will never forget Hot 97 when they wanted to whip his ass.
They wouldn't. They woo.
And you know that
Yeah,
those dudes from Yonkers are built a little differently.
yeah. They were ready. To whoop. They was ready. Yeah, they ready. To whoop. That was funny though. That was funny,
No doubt.
man.
Man, I am.
Yeah,
This was good, man. This was good.
yeah. We.
Anything else you want to add to this before we get on out?
Oh man, I support hip hop. Support hip hop. Clean it. Let's clean it up, man. Let's clean it up.
Yeah, it's kind of
Let's
like
clean it
Nas
up.
said on the Bridge is Over, the 2.0, because the original one, of
Yeah,
course, was Boogie Down Productions.
yeah,
Uh, it's about cleaning your own backyard. And
yeah.
once again, I want to take pride in saying that Nas is another artist from Queens.
Nas. You know what about Nas, man? I wouldn't call him the GOAT.
Nah,
Damn, he got to be in. He got his longevity is
his
freaking.
longevity, his work. The thing I respect about Nas is that he has a deep affection for those who paved the way, even if they were
Yeah.
rivals. Because there's a lot of different
Yep.
accounts of when him and Tupac ran into each other.
Yeah.
Snoop is not known for telling the truth very often, but I do
Right.
believe that he was a little more truthful on that one, saying how Nas kind of let them
Yeah.
slide. Snoop, on the other
And
hand,
see.
is a complete informant, and I want to make that clear.
Oh yeah, I second that. Yeah, I'll third it too. Raise my right hand and say it, or whatever hand you're supposed to raise. Yeah, he's an
Right,
informant.
right.
Um. Yeah. I Nas is just something, man.
The
And he
Magic
stayed.
album, that
Mm,
first Magic album, Room
yeah.
for the Children, bro, I'm not
Yeah.
ashamed to admit that. Man, that shit gives me friggin' chills. And I always tell it, you had to be
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, you had to be there. Yeah. My like over the last 10 to 15 years, my favorite Nas song is still Hip Hop Is Dead because of the
Oh, I
song
love
they
that album.
used. The song they used, I love that song, man.
Yeah, when you
It's,
got
it's
Nat King Cole at the end of that joint,
Right.
Yeah, that's different, bro. Shouts out
Next
Keith
level, man.
Woolridge. The other day, man, because Keith has a deep appreciation for music similar to a level that you do. You know, Keith and
Hmm.
I are kind of in the same age range,
Hmm.
but you know, we gained a lot of great music from the generation before us because it was played in our
Yeah.
households.
Right.
So like just like I could get down with the best hip hop ever,
Hmm.
you know, Keith and I talk about how we'll jam out to Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh yeah.
Bobby
Oh yeah.
Womack. You know what I'm
Hey
saying?
man.
Like,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Yeah, man.
come on now.
I feel you. I got the vodka and stuff up there. Yeah.
When I had a deep conversation with Keith a few months back saying how
Yeah.
a
You need to get him
particular
on the
Earth,
show
Wind and
again.
Fire song was my late father's favorite song.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And when Keith hit me back
Mm.
and said that that was his old man's favorite song too, I was like, oh shit.
Did you remember which one it was? You can't remember it?
Fantasy, Earth, Wind and Fire.
Man, that's I think that's every OG's.
Yeah, but like my old man was a white Italian man.
Hey,
That's
look, it's Earth,
crazy.
Wind,
That's
and
really cool.
it's Earth, Wind and Fire, man.
Oh, he loved that. My old man loved Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, yeah. We gotta do some more. We gotta do some more shows like this too, man.
Iconic photo. There's an iconic photo of my father that I got to get my mitts on.
All right.
It was at my cousin Joanne's wedding. I wasn't even
Yeah.
conceived. I wasn't even born yet. I don't believe.
Oh, there.
Yo, my old man was
Uh huh.
rocking a white on white suit with these Converse at
Woo!
a wedding. Almost, and he was like, this is a spotlight, and he had like his arms spread out like James Brown. I don't know what the hell my father
Oh
was
no,
up
you
to
got
that
you
night.
got you got to let me see that picture. When you
Yeah, I gotta
find it, you
find
got
it.
to let me see that one.
I gotta find it.
Which your mama got it, or you got it at your
No,
house?
no, my uncle, my godfather, Nicky
Oh,
Santoro, busted that thing out.
well, we're gonna have to get Mickey. Like, hey man, we need a picture. We need that picture.
And,
Homie.
and I'm not gonna repeat what I said after that. But let's just say Pops was having a really good time.
Oh, I could imagine. Yeah, I got to see that. The white on white with the Converse. Oh yeah, I got to see that.
Yeah, that was wild.
Hell yeah, it's a good
Just a
show,
few
man.
years later, joined New York's finest.
Yeah, right. Hell yeah, it's a good show, man.
Yeah, I think we did good. And like I said, this isn't no clout chase. The work was
Hmm.
already done.
Right,
We're hip hop heads. I'm a hip hop fan.
right.
Idris is hip hop. He's a fan and he's a part of it.
Yeah,
I'm a loving visitor. But the point I'm making here is this needed to come out. Bottom line, no
yeah,
questions asked, and I'm happy that it happened because
yeah.
I am sick and tired of people oppressing others and keep climbing. We get enough of it in our government. We don't need it with our entertainers too, with people that promising a dream to young kids
Eh,
that are looking for a break and
Well, I'm
basically
giving the
setting their
mic, man.
lives back decades between trauma and all the other things that they pull. Bottom line.
Yeah, 100% with that.
Yeah,
That's
man.
it.
We got a football game to watch in a short while. Philadelphia
Yes,
Eagles on
sir.
the road in SoFi. We hit on it earlier. If you want to get your last minute look at the NFL deets, definitely check out today's show, the Monday rundown. We hit on everything that went down in the NFL yesterday. Little
Yep,
sports
yep.
related news. Kyle Schwarber was just offered a contract from the Pittsburgh Pirates. It will be
Mhm.
interesting if he were to take that deal because you have to think if you put a player like a Schwarber in that young Pittsburgh lineup, could it sway Paul Skeens to stay? Because we all know that Paul Skeens has been linked to the New York Yankees, among others.
Hmm.
And, you know, Paul
Yeah,
Skeens in a contract season, too.
yeah. The Pittsburgh Pirates, though, man.
I'll tell you the
Um,
truth, though. Like,
they're young. Then they're young, and they're
a
freaking
little before my time. But I would
yeah,
like to see the Pirates have one more run of some kind of credibility going back to like the
yeah,
We Are Family Pirates, like when they had Stargell and whatnot.
yeah. They parking on them. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw them. Yeah. They're young, man. Yeah. If he takes his skiing stay, I could see it, but they got some work to do there, though, man.
No, no question. It's going to be
Yeah.
interesting. that NL Central is very winnable for everybody in it because
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
Chicago Cubs were the second place team. They held down first most of the year. Milwaukee Brewers beat them in 5 hard ones. That
yeah,
was a hard series to win. They both brought it their A game.
yeah.
And right now everybody's in a rat race to cut the gap on the Dodgers and try to prevent the three-peat. It would be
Yeah.
the first three-peat since the 2000 season when the New York Yankees prevailed over the New York Mets in 5 games.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
definitely going to be interesting. I'm getting my guy Richie Dorney on the show in the near future. He is a huge, huge New York Mets fan, and we are going to hit on the free agency stuff that's going on. Winter meetings currently going down.
Yep.
And we're going to find out if the Yanks keep Cody Bellinger. Definitely something on the minds of
I
many
hope
Yankee
so,
fans.
man. I hope so. Yeah. All
But
right.
yeah, I think we said everything we needed to tonight.
Yeah. Watch out, Crit Show. We got a bunch of reels out there. Check us out, man.
Yeah, definitely check out the reels. I'm going to do my ever annoying shout outs because that's just what I do.
Right.
Check out our friends at the Casual Convo Show every other Monday and Wednesday, 8 to 10 p.m. on Hand Radio. Check out our friends at the Sports Corner, Mr. Nast, as well as our buddy Joe Gallagher. I don't say this very often, but for Eagles fans, they are pretty damn cool.
Yeah. They're pretty decent.
If you love talking sports on social media, definitely join Beasts of the NFC East. It is football heaven in that thing. You don't have to be a fan of the East to be embraced in there. It is an excellent football page. Yeah. Check out the Bleed Blue podcast. And also make it a point, check out my guy right here, Idris Salam, on the Mix Experience, which you can find on live365.com. The Mix Experience, Bosco from the Bronx. Every genre of music, this man lays it down.
Yep.
And I might be seeing you roughly in a week. Hopefully, we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully, you can make it out to my son's birthday. We'll see how it plays. But yeah, he was actually asking about you today, so we'll see how it goes.
I got to come down there. I got to get me some edibles and bring back up here.
What's that, buddy?
I got to get me some edibles. The edibles down here are real good.
Whatever it takes to get you out here, man.
I know, man. But yeah,
remember that's just a shadow. That's just a shadow in the background. I don't need you pulling the piece on me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, nah,
man.
The
podcast room, catch me on the corner there, man.
Nah, man.
Hit me like Uncle Junior and Tony.
Oh, damn, dude. Nah, man.
Speaking of which, did you see that jacket that Jackson Dart wore to New England in the last Giants game?
No, I didn't see it.
Bro, I was dying. They said Jackson Dart rolling into New England with the jacket that Richie Aprile gave Tony Soprano. Bro, what? I was about dying. And if anybody who's a Soprano fan remembers that episode, that was a funny ass scene.
Yeah, are you serious?
It looked just like it. I figured if anything, DeVito would have wore that, but hey.
That's why at the end of the season we need to let Russell Wilson leave and bring Tommy DeVito back.
Oh hell yeah!
Look
that
here.
Would be the most swagged out quarterback room.
Listen, him, Jameis, Dart, and Scatterbo's gonna come in there. We would have had bring Tommy DeVito back. Bring him back home.
Well, this is the last thing I want to say.
Yeah.
If Devontae Smith could put up a 26, 27 or so point performance tonight for fantasy, I will jump to the 3 seed and I will play Brett in round 1 because Brett is coming down to the 6 if I find a way to win. If I ultimately lose, I will fall to the 6, and I believe Brett will be 5. So Brett would draw. Let me think about this for a second. Brett would draw Willie. I would get John Olsen in round 1. But if I somehow come back tonight, or if I would have just played Jacoby Brissett yesterday instead of being a dumbass, yeah, buddy, I'm in the playoffs at least. And I jumped from 10th to 6th in my other league, so we'll see how it plays out. Before Idris, I am Richie. Thank you for hanging with us. The Reckoning, if you haven't already. I usually don't do promotions for big people shit because they're already made over there at Netflix, but check it out. Definitely a good watch. 50 Cent.
Big people shit.
Yeah, you
Big
know what I'm
people
saying.
shit.
Like the big engines. Like I ain't gonna
I
big
know.
up
I
ESPN,
know.
and I don't do that.
Nah.
But for the demise of Puff Daddy, I am with it.
Yep. We are
And
out,
that's
y'all.
all I got to say about that. Have a great night, everyone. We out.
Peace.